Look at this. We spend hours imagining flying cars, Mars colonies, AI companions, futures we'll never see. Now imagine doing the same thing. But your tools are ink and paper, your references are steam engines, and electricity is still a parlor trick. For the Victorians, predicting the future meant wrestling with the limits of their own imagination. It meant bold guesses, beautiful failures, and predictions so wrong they're almost right. Today, we're diving into the strange, ambitious, and often hilarious world of 19th century futurism when humanity tried to see 2 centuries ahead and missed spectacularly. Let's start at the very beginning, when the future became something you could sketch, the pre-prediction world, progress without a map. So what did people do when they wanted to imagine the future but had no framework for accelerating change? They didn't, not really. For most of history, tomorrow looked like today. Your grandfather's tools were your tools. Your great-grandson would use them too. Change happened, but so slowly it was invisible within a single lifetime. But here's the thing, most people just lived their present. The future wasn't a destination you planned for, not culturally, not philosophically, it just arrived slowly, like seasons. And before you imagine everyone stuck in static medieval thinking, remember stability had different definitions. Safe? Yes. Important. Innovative? That was a luxury problem. But then something changed. Progress became visible. The century's first tool, the steam-powered imagination. The 1800s were intoxication in the form of invention. A heavy, thunderous wave of metal and possibility. Railways devoured distance. Telegraph wires made thoughts instantaneous. And suddenly, the future wasn't an abstraction. It was a destination you could calculate. Elegance in its ambition, terrifying in its speed. Visual magazine illustrations of the year 2000. First observation, you're drawing the future based on present technology, steam-powered everything, mechanical wings, coal-fired submarines, all of it extrapolating from what you know, and now you're sketching fantasies that will look ridiculous in retrospect. Second observation, the confidence was crushing. Magazines publish these predictions as fact-adjacent. The world of tomorrow will have mail delivery to the moon. Not might have, will have. 5 minutes of speculation, then to press. Then readers believed it. And if you got lucky, if you predicted instant communication, but imagined it through pneumatic tubes instead of radio waves, you didn't just miss the mechanism. You captured the dream while missing its true form completely. Something had to evolve. The numbered future, science becomes oracle. Enter scientific prediction, data-driven divination. The idea was clever. Instead of vague prophecy, you'd use mathematics, chart population growth, calculate industrial output, graph education rates and deduce social progress. In theory, this made the future knowable. In theory, humans would follow predictable patterns. In practice, still fantasy. The confidence was staggering. By 1950, poverty will be mathematically eliminated. Crime will decline at exactly this rate. Education will raise IQ scores by this amount per generation. They forgot the variables: war, politics, human irrationality, chance. Their graphs pointed toward utopia because their graphs didn't account for reality. And those mathematical predictions? They inspired a new genre of dreamers, writers who took the numbers and wrapped them in narrative. If science could predict, fiction could illustrate. The line between data and storytelling blurred until both became prophecy. But wait, it gets stranger. The Italian astronomer's error, canals and civilization. For the truly curious, Earth's future wasn't enough. They looked up. In 1877, an Italian astronomer, Giovanni Schiaparelli, observed Mars through his telescope and saw lines. Fine, straight, deliberate lines crossing the red surface. He called them canali, channels, possibly natural. Translation error. The English press printed canals, artificial, engineered, proof of Martian civilization, and overnight Mars went from dead rock to humanity's cosmic neighbor. Picture this. Writers didn't just describe Martians, they designed their cities, their politics, their poetry, which one medium in Boston claimed was melancholy and polite. Each detail represented escalating commitment to a fantasy built on mistranslation. This was high-confidence, high-stakes speculation, Percival Lowell spent decades mapping these canals. He wrote books, gave lectures, convinced a generation that Mars was inhabited. Then better telescopes arrived. No canals, no cities, just dust and desperate human pattern recognition. But if the surface wasn't enough, maybe the answer was underground. The hollow Earth, when down, meant forward. The hollow Earth theory was confidence through desperation. Instead of progress by going up, you'd find the future by going down. The idea looked almost scientific. The Earth's core was hollow, glowing with internal light, home to advanced civilizations we'd discover through deep mining. Simple, right? Except it required ignoring geology, physics, and the increasing heat miners encountered with every meter downward. The domestic enthusiasm was genuine, though. Every new mine shaft was potential proof. Every unexplained earthquake was possibly hollow Earth activity. And that dream of underground cities? After an hour of speculation, it saturated popular fiction. Even respected scientists, Edmund Halley, the comet guy, published hollow Earth theories. Multiple nested spheres, each potentially habitable. Result? We found rock, magma, pressure that would crush any hollow space. The Earth didn't stop for wishful thinking. And there was an even simpler future to predict. Tomorrow's fashion, everyday futurism, the year 2000 through Victorian eyes. By the 1890s, futurism became fashionable entertainment. French artist Jean-Marc Cotte created a series of postcards showing life in the year 2000. The predictions were inventive: personal flying machines for mail delivery, aerial firefighters, underwater tour buses shaped like fish. Teachers wouldn't lecture. They'd feed books into machines that transferred information directly to students' brains through wires. Learning without effort, knowledge without work. And fashion? Dresses that inflated with air pumps, makeup applied by mechanical arms, dinner compressed into flavored pills. Nutritious, efficient, joyless. Everything tedious would be automated. Robot barbers, self-sweeping floors, mechanical orchestras. They predicted the video call, but imagined it through pneumatic tubes. They foresaw robotic assistance, but thought it would free us from all labor. Instead, automation arrived and we just found more work. Different century, different technology, same exhaustion. Meanwhile, not everyone was optimistic. The fear merchants, progress as apocalypse. For every utopian there was a prophet of doom, and their predictions were just as confident. To them, industrial progress wasn't humanity's future, it was humanity's suicide. The smoke would blacken the sky. The machines would devour workers. Cities would become hell's preview. Even electricity frightened people. Some believed it drained life force from the air. Others insisted telegraph wires carried sin, that evil could travel at the speed of lightning down copper lines. The irony was perfect. The same people publishing fearful pamphlets were buying electric lamps for their homes. Fear was just fascination wearing a disguise. And some fears were justified. Industrial accidents were common. Workers were injured by machines. Cities did choke on coal smoke. The doomsayers weren't entirely wrong. They just assumed apocalypse instead of adaptation. But here's the thing. When science couldn't predict the future, something else stepped in. The spirit medium's promise, summoning tomorrow. When data failed, mysticism flourished. If mathematicians couldn't calculate the future, perhaps spirits could reveal it. Parlors glowed with crystal balls. Mediums whispered prophecies. Fortune charts promised to reveal your marriage date, number of children, year of death, all for a few coins. Some inventions blurred the line entirely. Thomas Edison reportedly worked on a spirit telephone, a device to communicate with the dead. Whether serious experiment or showmanship, it captured the era's desperation to pierce the veil of time. Visual, mechanical oracle machines, prediction devices. Others built elaborate machines, metal boxes with dials and wires that supposedly recorded messages from the future. Steampunk time travel without the travel. You can predict all you want, but without actual time travel, it's all guessing. Scientific guessing, mechanical guessing, spiritual guessing, but guessing nonetheless. And across all these methods, one truth emerged: they were all wrong in fascinating ways. The broken crystal ball, beautiful failures. For the truly ambitious predictors, accuracy was less important than confidence. and their mistakes reveal more than their successes. They predicted instant communication through pneumatic tubes and mechanical relays. They got the concept, missed the mechanism entirely. They imagined artificial intelligence, powered by gears and steam. Charles Babbage designed thinking machines but assumed they'd be mechanical, room-sized, and gear-driven. He was right about the room-sized part initially. Visual, telegraph-based internet concept next to actual internet. They even glimpsed the internet, but imagined it as rooms full of telegraphers routing messages, not invisible data packets traveling at light speed. Visual Victorian flying machine concepts. Picture this. You predict human flight, but imagine it requires steam engines, brass propellers, and gentlemen's goggles. The dream was real. The execution was fantasy. Each wrong guess was a love letter to ambition. This was high imagination, wrong mechanism speculation. They saw the destination, just not the road. What they never predicted was scale. They imagined devices, but not ubiquity. They pictured inventions, but not how inventions would reshape human behavior itself. And speaking of who believed these predictions, let's talk about class. The prediction class, who gets to dream tomorrow? The futurist occupied one of the highest rungs of privilege. His workspace, a comfortable study. His tools, pen, paper, imagination, and the luxury of time. He'd sketch 3, 4, 5 visions of tomorrow, publish them in magazines, give lectures, write books, for hours, in comfortable settings. While others worked in factories building the present, he was already transcending in imagination. The physical toll of actual progress? Not his problem. The workers building railways, mining coal, operating dangerous machinery, they had no time to dream about flying cars. And the audience? These predictions were for the educated, the wealthy, the people with leisure to wonder about tomorrow. The future, it seemed, was a luxury good. This divide between dreamers and builders existed for one reason: whose tomorrow mattered. The future as status, the politics of prediction. For the wealthy, predicting the future wasn't about accuracy. It was a signal. It said, I have education, I have vision, I have the luxury to think beyond survival. The more elaborate the prediction, the more impossible the mechanism, the more utopian the vision, the better. Practicality was for engineers. Ambition was for visionaries. But here's the irony. Even the inventors were often wrong. Their predictions looked forward, but their mechanisms looked backward. Steam powered everything, because steam was what they knew. This entire system, this imaginative, class-divided, mechanism-blind system, was about to be overturned by technologies they couldn't even imagine. The reality revolution, when tomorrow actually arrived. The actual future appeared gradually, then suddenly. Airplanes weren't steam-powered. Radio wasn't mechanical. Computers weren't gears. The shift was humbling. Every confident prediction met reality and adjusted. Flight happened, but through internal combustion and aerodynamics, not brass propellers. Communication became instant, but through electromagnetic waves, not pneumatic tubes. What was lost? The beautiful certainty that progress was linear and predictable. The comfort of extrapolating from known technology. What was gained? A future stranger and more wonderful than Victorian dreamers could imagine. Technologies that would seem like magic to them. Visual, modern person using smartphone. So the next time you check tomorrow's weather forecast without thinking, conclusion, the ghost in the telescope. Remember this. That simple act connects you to centuries of ambitious, beautiful failure. Every confident prediction about tomorrow carries the ghost of wrong mechanisms, missed revolutions, and dreams that came true in unrecognizable forms. The mundane is never just mundane. It's layered with imagination, hope, and often spectacular wrongness. So, what prediction from our century will make 2200 laugh? What are we confidently wrong about right now? Let me know in the comments. And remember, appreciate your uncertainty.